Behold, one and all, a video where I say nice things about Final Fantasy XIV.
Truly, these are the end of times! Repent! Repent!
So, funny story, I had originally planned this video last year in the summer of 2024, and it's now February 2025. My timing is impeccable. I had the script done, lines recorded, and then came this pretty little number called Dawn Trail. And my life's goal revolved entirely around tearing Square Enix a new one at every conceivable opportunity. It's been a hell of a ride. Yeah, I'm still hoping 7.2 will do some good for the content if not the story, but back on point. We're here to talk about power scaling and examples of how 14 has done a terrific job at demonstrating them. Granted, it has some horrid examples too. Zodiark, most egregious of all. You can see my videos on that if you're interested. And
if you even think of tormenting my people again, you will answer to me.
I swear, the next expansion can't get here quickly enough. Nope. This is a nice video. Positive vibes. Positive. All my incessant complaining aside, when Final Fantasy XIV gets its shit together and delivers, we've gotten some of the most profound fights in just about any game I've played. No Deus Ex Machina, no plot contrivance, just development, effort, struggle, sacrifice, the good stuff. There are various examples, big and small, throughout the series, but to keep things focused, I'd like to start with Heavensward. And, oh yeah, there's gonna be spoilers for anything FF14 related. I know that's nothing new, but for the newcomers, tactfulness is not my specialty. Anyways, let's get started. Heavensward had a lot of great elements, from the corruption of Ishgard's Holy See to the unique regions we got to explore, also some of the most gut-wrenching moments in the whole series. "10 years later and it still hits you where it hurts. But there are some beautiful moments too, hopes for redemption, mending wounds carved out long ago and learning that sins committed generations ago can be acknowledged, addressed, and overcome, without forsaking yourself in the process. These are wonderful ideas, all of which are explored through a sullen and complex setting. Let's face it, there was little comfort to find during the start of Heavensward. We were on the run after being framed for regicide, all our companions are scattered and missing, and our safe haven of Ishgard is suffering a slow death at the hands of a malevolent dragon that only lives to see its people suffer. Can you just imagine if Dawn Trail borrowed even a fraction of that energy? This isn't the point of the video, but I gotta get this off my chest. Everything about the game's most recent expansion just felt safe, bland, conventional, in the most exhaustive sense. Troll could have been corrupt, but nah, everybody there is awesome. Our bad guys could have been complex, with a great deal of nuance surrounding their motivations. Looking at user role, but nah. They're generic and receive virtually no screen time for development. Point is, you will be mesmerized by how much of a difference it makes when the narrative allows conflict to develop, rather than just standing around reminding yourself of how awesome you think you are. Anyways, back to Heavensward. And yes, let's not forget the best part, the main part, dragons. The coolest damn mythical creature in any media. And yes, I will fight you on that. Especially when we remember that dragons in 14 are in fact aliens.
I'm an alien, I am an alien, I am an alien, I am an alien.
A badass idea, by the way. Though credit where it's due, Ben 10 did it first. But as far as power scaling goes, it was our fight against Nidhogg where the game really shined. It wasn't the most pronounced part of the expansion, but was no less delightfully handled. Nidhogg starts off as this dark enigma, someone we barely see, building the fear factor up until our fight in the level 55 dungeon. And considering by this point we'd already witnessed what Dillholes the Cardinal and his holy knights were, it was obvious this malevolent creature wasn't the end of our troubles. Now the area where we fight him wasn't too bad. I'll take Heavensward dungeons over anything in ARR until hell itself freezes over. That's right, Vale, I still haven't forgiven you. But things really kicked off once we reached Nidhogg at the end. We find a Sinian holding off the Great Worm with one of his eyes, the source of the dragon's power. A nice lore moment too, as we learn. The twist of Ishgard's founders being traitors and Nidhogg being fueled by 1,000 years of pure hatred for their treachery, all because they feared dragons and coveted their strength. Unending tragedy caused by such pettiness. It's partway through the dungeon, Nidhogg is enraged and throws everything he's got at us. And it's a Stinian who shields us using the very same eye. A nice touch, a slap in Nidhogg's face. But wait, where the hell's the footage?
Oh, they patched that.
They patched that?
Yeah, that part doesn't happen anymore.
Square, what the hell, man? I finally worked up the gall to lighten up for a change, say something positive, then they turn around and fuck it up all over again.
Okay, dude, calm down. Take a chill pill.
For those not aware, During the middle phase of the fight, mobs would spawn, and they would all target Estinian. The healer would have to heal him and the party while they fought him off, all before Nidhogg's attack fully charged and took us out. It was awesome. Now, we got this cheap shit. Regardless of the company cheapening the good parts at every opportunity. Square! This fight showed us how powerful a dragon's eyes truly are. Not only corroborating the lore, but setting up events at the climax of the game. Because if you thought this mid-game dungeon was the end of Nidhogg's story, not even close. This is where things get good. First of all, ending MSQ like this was just the ultimate FU to all of us. In a good way, because we were feeling pretty high all things considered. We weeded out the Cardinal and his cohort of douchebags. We have Aymeric, a decent guy running the show in Ishgard. We and Bigord Samir are becoming buds, and La Habrea is dead. That walking cartoon villain cliche will not be missed. Till the pandemonium rates, now I kinda feel bad. Through hardship and tragedy, we arrived at a satisfactory ending, and then our buddy Estinian gets possessed by Nidhogg's lingering rage. The threat we thought we had eliminated has returned. I'll tell you folks, it takes some major balls to allow us a high morale as this, just to crash and burn it immediately thereafter. I respect that. Now for our second Nidhogg fight, where everything accumulates and the payoff is finally earned. This, I think, was the first major instance of seeing the Warrior Light's potential scaled in a truly intricate way. This showdown is based on pure build-up, and I loved every second of it, especially since it isn't too heavy on the nose about what's going on here. You remember, Nidhogg is fighting with only a single eye back in the Eyrie. Well, it was Heavensward's. A voluntary act that would force himself to share in his brute brother's bloodshed. With the focus so heavy on Nidhogg, I think it's easy to miss that point sometimes.
And some people got helped, and some other people didn't get helped. Details are really important.
What matters is, Nidhogg was at a major disadvantage during our first fight. Now though, he has both of his eyes. Without drawing much attention to it, we all know that this enemy is far more dangerous than before. Though arguments can be made we're still not fighting Nidhogg at his prime. It's a humbling thought. Then add the fact that he's possessing a friend of ours. This fight has both greater stakes and raw power behind it. That's all the investment we, the players, needed. There's no bullshit magic shield created by a psycho albino goddess. There's no moment of us simply being stronger when it satisfied the plot. Nidhogg is objectively a greater threat than before, and we need something to even the odds, which, thanks to Heavensward, we receive. That's a good stuff. Don't know if we've discussed this before, but I do love it when a story wraps up several plot points and themes all at once. Every story has limited time to both develop and conclude. Ensuring that every facet lines up perfectly is not only difficult, but it's imperative, and Heavensward handled that magnificently. There's the most direct issue of giving us a boost to fight on par with Nidhogg. We didn't just overpower him, like in the Eyrie. I'd also note that Estinian was using one of Nidhogg's eyes to give us an advantage during that first fight. And yeah, Heavensward states afterwards that it wasn't the eye that won in the end, but he was just being nice. The guy doesn't give many compliments, just take it. Speaking of Heavensward, this scene also completes his character arc of letting go and moving on, not letting the tragedies of his sister's death, the loss of his loved one Shiva, push him to hide from the world any longer. To say, enough is enough. It also completes the wider overarching plot of Heavensward, not just of ending the war, bringing peace to Ishgard, but that of reuniting mortals and dragons after 1,000 years of conflict. It's right after we claim the Eye that the dragon song is heard for the first time, symbolizing that rejoining, and it is beautiful. Even after the fight, the pressure won't let up. Nidhogg's will refuses to relent. His anger is that unquenchable. Estinian, in a moment of lucidity, begs us to end him, end Nidhogg. But that is not how a hero do, so we rush to his side trying to pry the eyes off of him, and receive some help supposedly from the great beyond. I know this is kind of sappy, but given the horrific end these two faced, having even a single moment with them again, it was a nice touch. It wasn't overly dramatic, they didn't stick around so long it ruined the sentiment, just long enough to see the job done. And thus, Nidhogg is defeated, his malevolence dispelled, our friend saved. It's so beautiful, I won't get over-focused on them tossing the eyes over the bridge like this. It took the plot all of 5 minutes to reveal what a mistake that was when the Ascians recovered them. As if nobody could possibly find their way down there, no siree. Hey, don't judge me for being critical, habits die hard. All I'm saying is, dragons can fly through space. Why not chuck Nidhogg's anger balls into the sun? I don't think even the Ascians could remedy that. Problem permanently solved.
March down! Booyah!
For quick comparison, Wook Lama versus Bakul Jaja. Yeah, I don't miss talking about the furry twat either. This fight encapsulates the exact opposite of everything I was praising Heavensward for. While a confrontation with Bakul was inevitable, there was no prep for it. Their first bout made it obvious Wook was outmatched. That and the legendary prowess of Blessed Siblings was nothing to scoff at. There was nothing for Wook to draw upon when it was time for battle. At least nothing that wasn't already there. She had zero development in Dawntrail. She believed in peace, happiness, and protecting her people at the start of the narrative, and preached about peace, happiness, and protecting her people at the end of the narrative. This did serious damage to her potential. Wook went from simply being weaker than Bakul to squashing him, verbatim, along with mobs of disposable bad guys, while running her damn mouth. It's all the worse that Bakul is treated like a complete tool for the rest of the game, and mostly before this point too. And don't try and say it's because she's protecting her people, or that she fights to defend peace and happiness. I just described 75% of her complete personality with those 2 lines, by the way. When she first threw hands with Bakul, Wook was also protecting people from his malice. The only difference here is it's her biological father she's defending, someone she has no real connection or sentiment towards beyond that fact. That fact which she just learned about. And there was no good reason to drop that plot twist on us at all. It had nothing to do with anything. This guy doesn't even know us. And then, it never comes up again. Not once. Way to cheapen your work, fellas. Wook's fight simulates progress. For herself, for Dawntrail entirely. Heavensward and defeating Nidhogg had real substance, real effort, and real rewards as a result. But the examples do not end there.
Take it. We fight as one.
Okay, be real. Anybody who knows me knew Shadowbringers was gonna get some love. Apart from a fantastic antagonist and a baller as fuck soundtrack, our struggles in Shadowbringers are to date unparalleled. And damn straight, that's a dig at Endwalker. Our hunt for the Light Wardens, and the light slowly corrupting us, did something nothing else has done in the whole series by making us, the Warrior of Light, or Darkness in this case, the vulnerable one. We were the ones falling short, wearing thin, needing others to pick us back up when on the verge of failing, time after time, and all the while we the players were wondering, how will we fix this? How will we overcome with all this weight pushing us down? Using the light as our weakness was a neat direction to go with because it wasn't a problem that could be solved by punching or blowing something up. I mean, yes, those methods are fun too, but not applicable. So it was a unique obstacle to overcome, more than Nidhogg or even Xenos. It was a mindless force, a symptom of the natural order out of balance thanks to the Ascians. Thus, our struggles mount at the climax. Emet-Selch stands over us, mocking our efforts. All the while, the light continues to break us. It makes scenes like this one in Amarant, where we have our final confrontation with Emmet, even more impactful. I have complained about how us standing around letting problems mount in front of us is an annoying habit of the game. But here and now, it does make some sense. The Scions, resourceful as they are no match for Hades. And our pro-tag here is a few breaths away from keeling over. A faulty attempt to argue with Emmet is about the only card we have at this point. And a short time later, when we do try throwing hands with him, yeah, maybe we should have stuck with just trying to talk with him. Not Alphino, though. That only made him mad.
I am going to kill all of you.
Now then, the Scions are picked off one by one. The light is overwhelming us. We can barely stand, much less fight. This is our lowest moment. Nobody, not even Xenos, was able to push us to the brink. There's no life lesson to gain perspective and get back into the fight. No last-minute solution to magic up. On our own, we are lost. But we were never alone in this, were we? Ah, Lord, of all the people in this game who needed a fucking hug, definitely Hades, there will be a long line of fangirls ready and willing to help with that. And certainly Arbert, an adventurer turned warrior of light, who unwittingly beckoned the doom of his world under the false assumption he and his party were saving it. Then with further manipulations by the Ascians, they travel to the source to wreak havoc in a desperate plight to undo the damage.
We did everything right! everything that was asked of us, and still it came to this.
You can just hear the desperation in his voice. They played the part of the villain well, but in truth, the warriors of darkness we fought in Heavensward were just a mirror version of ourselves. The heroes who fought and lost. I don't think that sort of story gets enough attention in pop culture. Now, it was optional content, but the job quests in Shadowbringers did give us a chance to explore these characters in greater detail to see who they truly were, what motivated them, how it felt to have become the doom of everything they cared about, and what they were willing to give up to mend the damage. And it certainly calls a question the one who stood by and let it happen. I don't know, folks. Subjects like this need more attention. Maybe Arbert and his crew will get their own video one day. It depends on how this one does. I know gushing over the game is not this channel's forte, but still, it's great to remember what made me love it in the first place.
This world is not yours to end. This is our future. Our story.
Speaking of which, just like with Nidhogg, we witness several events accumulate at the same time. Arbert atoning for his mistakes. This man spent 100 years as a literal ghost. It was purgatory, no contact, no relief from his solitude. And now, when it comes down to it, he was spared only to make his sacrifice here and now to rejoin with us. He is a fragment of our soul, one that had taken a life of its own, but now a rejoining is the only way to persevere. I do love the irony in that, how the Ascians are keen to rejoin all the shards, make the world whole once more, and we ourselves must do the same to measure up. And again, this conclusion was developed, not some last-minute asshole. Arbert had been tailing us since early game. We've bonded, come to understand one another, slowly but surely answering the riddle of why we are the only person who can see and interact with him. When the fake Hyflodeus confirms our connection, all the pieces fit. It wasn't a forced revelation. This is what development looks like, people. It doesn't have us getting beaten down by some psychotic L'Oreal model that is basically the illegitimate love child between Hannibal Lecter and Sephiroth, just so we can overpower him in the third round for no reason.
That guy was a dick.
Fortunately, our fight with his great-grandpappy does not have that problem. Now this was honestly what I loved most about the climax of Shadowbringers. Even with a fragment of our soul recovered, even with Graha's magic giving us a boost, we still failed to finish off Hades by ourselves. I mean, all that hype, that kick-ass soundtrack, and one hell of a boss fight, and we still needed our fellow Scions to finish the job. Most importantly, by choosing to go this route, Hades and us both worn down by our struggles, still pushing back, refusing to yield. This pays respect to its characters, to their desires. This isn't a fight of pure malice like with Xenos. It isn't blind rage like with Nidhogg. It's not even a matter of conquest like Gaius. It's about survival, preserving what matters most to you, and for one side to win, the other is forsaken. We feel that struggle in every scene. Every sentence Hades spews out as he charges at us. Even when the aura sight paralyzes him, he won't relent, and we have to summon the last of our strength to put an end to it. The Nidhogg fight, with its buildup, was damn good. This though, with Hades, was fucking perfection. There isn't a single damn scene I would dream of ever changing. Though maybe show some battle scars, I think we've earned them. And then, the final stab to the heart.
Remember. Remember us. Remember that we once lived.
I have watched multiple channels talk about Emet-Selch. I would like to do my own video sometime, though I'm not sure what I can say that others haven't done just as well, if not better. One thing many believe is that Hades wanted it to end like this. He wanted to stop. Whether the millennia of scheming and destruction had gotten to him, or perhaps he knew all along what he was doing was wrong. Who knows? Those are good ideas. I can see where people are coming from. Just look at how he simply accepts his death. He even smiles at the end. Is he finally at peace? Or with the reveal of us being his old friend Azim reincarnated? Perhaps by sharing a final moment with a long-lost friend and made him break character. This single moment has been permanently ingrained in my memories. Even in victory, it feels like we lost something here. Something I don't think we'll ever get back. And that's the way of things, I suppose. To me, that just proves how well-written Emet-Selch really was. We were never forced to like him. He wasn't shoved in our faces and told he was the best damn person to ever exist, unlike some others in this series. His flaws weren't blatantly ignored but embraced and sometimes even understood. Hades couldn't let go, and it pushed him to become something he never conceived possible. Just imagine if things had been different. Say we stopped Meteon and Elpis. That was Endwalker's finale, and the Ambertines lived on. A Hades that never turned to madness, preserving everything he had lost without ever knowing how or why he had to lose them in the first place. For the sake of keeping the peace, I won't bitch out you-know-who for causing all this heartache in the goddamn first place.
You fucking whore! You stupid bitch!
Okay, maybe a little bitching out. Anyways, I hope this video helped give some perspective on how an epic final fight ought to be, one inspired by struggle, development, and execution, rather than the BS we've been getting these last few years, which basically amounts to some programmer doing a line of coke, then throwing random crap together into a cutscene. Just add in some music and mediocre one-liners, and the people will never question the narrative.
Incomplete and insufficient.
Shut up and die already. With our victory over Zodiark, they ruined any possibility of giving us a valid threat ever again. Dawntrail's cartoon logic sure as hell failed in that regard, and while I've not lost hope completely for future content, I don't recommend holding your breaths. It's a long wait ahead of us. Thank you for your time. As always, share your own thoughts down below. What fights and struggles have stood out to you guys over the years? Feel free to like and subscribe. Again, if this video does well, I'll be sure to work on more positive material in the future. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then.